Welcome back to our social hour. It's all about online safety for your children this Wednesday morning. Thanks a lot for sticking with us. I am Shiko Kaitani, joined by an amazing panel today as we tackle this particular problem that is extremely timely, by the way, given how much time our children are actually spending online, not just learning, but also socializing. And it's about trying to teach them how to be responsible internet users. Still have my panel in place, ready to answer some of your questions. But even as we get to that, remember we've got our question of the day, and we've been asking about what your recommendations would be in regards to the kind of restrictions we need to put in place in this country. At K24 TV, yet again, is how you can reach us. But let's sample some of the text messages already coming through our WhatsApp number very quickly. Well, someone says, well, to add on to what the experts are saying, there are several negative effects of an internet addiction on children. Physical effects such as body aches, insomnia, vision problems. We've got emotional effects, depression, dishonesty, anxiety, even isolation and mood swings. A very good point that we're going to be jumping into. Asante sana for that. What else do we have, Bona Director? All right, we've got children should be under control by their parents. We can spoil our own children by what we do. Our ignorance that the parents expect a minor to be in control. The world is digitizing, and the child will tend to skip the goods you expect, or the good you expect as a parent, and do his or her own good in quotes. You need to monitor even the time they use that online. Reduce it to at least a max of 3 hours per day. Okay. Thank you so much. Who else do we have? Hi, K24. I would like to ask something, how to restrict children from interacting with unknown sources. All right, Francis, please take note on that. Asante sana. We've got another one here that says, hello, K24. Internet connected us with a lot globally. Example like now, whereby children are at home, they can access learning just through internet, and many things are nowadays done by internet. We also have online business, which is also a benefit to us as the youth, and that is Binga from Nairobi. Asante sana for that. We do appreciate it. Okay, so keep those text messages coming. Of course, we will be sampling them as we go along. But remember, Emmah Irungu is here with us, Francis Mwangi, as well as Evelyn Kasina, answering your questions. Now, before we tackle what our audiences have been saying, I promised earlier on that we'll be telling you about this interesting partnership between the Kenya Film Classification Board and Google, of course, under the leadership of Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, aka the moral policeman. Emmah is here to represent her agency. How did the moral policeman end up teaming up with Google?
Okay, well, let me say that the Kenya Film Classification Board draws its mandate from the Films and Stage Plays Act. Yeah. And from this mandate, one of the functions of the board is consumer advice. Okay. And in consumer advice is in regard to among other things about the content, the suitability of content and age for that content to be consumed, is that there is a protection of children and women from exploitation and degradation on the internet. Right. And to be able to execute that function, the board came up with a program called Media Literacy Program. And initially, the media literacy program was targeted to the children because of course, because of their vulnerability. Because the mandate is about, by the time we are classifying content, it's about protection of children from the potentially harmful media content. And so, as I've said, we used to target children, and especially those under 18. That is what the law says. Any person under the age of 18 is a child. And we are doing this in collaboration with schools, with Kenyan National and Drama and Film Festival, because it brings together so many children together. Yeah. But when we are interacting with the children, we are getting feedback. And of course, this feedback was helping us to evaluate the program. And the content we are getting, the feedback we are getting from the children with what they interact with in terms of content and even the platforms where they get that content, we realized that then the parents, because some of us are parents, we realized some of us could be a bit behind. They are ahead of us. In this case, we don't want to have children who are so much ahead of us that we are trying always to do the catch-up.
Right.
So what we realized from that is then we needed also to go to the parents and have a program that would empower them with just some basic skills and knowledge to do with the digital skills or the internet, so that they are also able to guide their children, if not to catch up with them, to guide their children. And that is how we ended up with this strategic partner, Google. You realize that Google is a company for, they are internet-based company. You have a lot of apps that are on Google. We have even the video streaming platform, that's the YouTube. And that is the reason why we partnered with Google. And the program is called Digital Parenting Program. So that now we reach to the parents about the skills that they can have, so that they are also able to do some to guide their children with from a point of information.
Awesome. So the digital parenting program is something that we can look out for, and I guess you can be telling us how we can access that later on. Getting back to you, Evelyn, if you can hear me, I'd really like us to talk about the psychological impact that social media has actually on children, and we may not even realize it. You know, what bullying is doing to children, as much as you'd think of bullying in the physical sense, is happening online. And just even what social media is really doing to shape the minds of young people, and how this could probably even link to depression. Like we said, you look at functions like likes, follows, shares, tagging. These are such important functions for a young person that you cannot see yourself without followers. It affects you if you don't get certain likes. And so even as parents, we need to understand what social media could be doing to the mental state of your child.
Well, let me just say this, Shiko, that our children are in an environment that is controlled by adults. So what the adult does, what the adults seem to be doing on a regular basis, the child will follow suit. So one of the things I keep saying is monkey see, monkey do. Because one of the things is, if you always find your children are attached to a screen, look at your own behavior first. You will realize that you're equally attached to your screen. The kind of content you also allow in your home via what you're watching, your children will be inclined to watch the same. And I think there's someone who mentioned that their child is always watching WWE. One of the things that I even realized myself is when I allowed my children to start playing video games, my daughter became very aggressive. Extremely aggressive in her behavior, in her language, in her demeanor. And I sat down with both of my children, and we agreed that there are no more games until I see behavior change. And I'm working with them through the journey of changing their behavior and not allowing games to control them. So we look at when you start seeing children exhibit the kind of negative effects from social media, it is actually coming from a place of lacking at home. For instance, if your child is always garnering for likes online, it means that at home that child is not affirmed. That child does not have a sense of belonging or a sense of affirmation, and they seek to get that affirmation from social media sites. And you see the affirmation they're getting from social media platforms is very short-lived. It is just a release of dopamine, and then it is a rush and it disappears. They want to do the next best thing to get more likes, and that's when the addiction is born. So we need as parents to start looking, when we start seeing these flags, start looking at the gaps that are at home and fill them as a parent. Because then if as a parent, you're not looking and not filling the gaps that your children are exhibiting on the online platform, then you're losing control. And one of the things actually that we are even doing as a business is what Emmah said. What Emmah didn't say is I'm in part of that partnership of KFCB and Google, because I'm running the trainings, and we want to equip parents as much as possible. Yes, they feel like they're not as tech savvy as children, and the reality is our children are more tech savvy. They use the internet in a very different way than we do. And as parents and guardians and educators, what we need to actually focus our effort on is creating a conducive environment, because that is what we can give them without lacking. Because we can't play catch up. We will never catch up with them. So looking at the environments we are setting. Are we there for our children? Are we creating time that we can interact with them face to face and break the cycle of continuous screen time? Those are things that we must implement, because the truth is they're using technology more than we are. They're way ahead of us.
Okay.
And for them, it is more so. We need to start equipping ourselves with the different skills that will enable us control the environments for them, so that they are not abusing the online platforms.
Okay, let me stop you there for a second, Evelyn, because we've got a caller on the line. I believe Joshua is still with us. Okay, Joshua, good morning.
Morning, Shiko.
Yes, karibu sana.
Asante sana. Sasa, number one, I think when we talk about safety of our children when it comes to the internet, sometimes I really ask myself, which children are we talking about? Because we are only talking about a very small percentage of children whose parents are tech savvy, and mostly it's the millennial parents and those of us who are below the age of 35 who live in urban areas.
Right.
Because most of the parents in Kenya are actually as ignorant as their children when it comes to internet matters. We are all learning in the game, number one. Number two, when we talk about children, I fail to understand who we are talking about, because any child who is above the age of 15 today gets no interference at all or controls from their parents when they are dealing with their gadgets and the internet. In fact, you'll see them around when they are in groups or they are alone. Sometimes they lock themselves in their bedrooms, and the parents have no idea completely about what their children are doing. And even if they try to ask them, they will not tell them. Now, I think this whole thing about internet, it will have to be a bigger conversation, because most of our parents in the country are actually illiterate when it comes to digital matters. So they have no control and they'll not help their children. Finally, I want to address something to the lady from the Kenya Film Classification Board. And I have a problem with that board.
Right.
These people have killed our entertainment industry. Every time our young men and women come up with some good content, and we don't make music because we want to sell it in Kenya. We want to sell something we want to come up with something that will sell in China, in Canada, and in Britain. So every time there is a song that has some obscene, maybe images or something like that, and then you ban it. Honestly, we are feeling the competitiveness that our entertainers have as compared to the others. I want to tell them that every parent has a responsibility to take care of their children. I don't think there is a musician who is supposed to take care of someone else's children. Shiko, we grew up listening to Outlaws by Tupac, So Deaf and Most Deaf, Ludacris. And we are here, we are not bad people. Let people take care of their children. Let our musicians do their thing. They need to make a living out of the work that they do.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for that. Okay, so 2 points there that Joshua has actually brought up. Number one, obviously asking, about the restrictions that KFCB have, which are a bit too tight, But anyway, you can address that. But another thing that he's brought up is that we've got to be responsible, that you cannot expect your child to be the one running the show. You've got to be the one to be able to understand what your child is doing. But before you answer, Joshua from Kirinyaga, let me just engage you, Francis, for a little bit, because when you look at some of these sites, and I'm sure you've watched The Social Dilemma.
Yes, definitely.
By the way, I recommend it. If you are on Netflix, please watch The Social Dilemma so that you can actually understand the psychology behind app developers and some of these website developers, okay? And so when you look at the demands from some of these sites, they are prompting you. It's like they're enticing you to keep sharing your information. Tell us something a little bit about you. Do a little bit about this. Add this, tag someone, keep inviting your friends. So we don't see that aspect when we go on the internet, do we?
Yeah, we don't, because essentially what these companies are doing, and it says very clearly even in The Social Dilemma, that if the product, if what is being offered is free, and it means that you're the product, And I think there's a sense of accountability that needs to come in. There's a sense of responsibility that needs to come in on your part, and even on the parents' part and the children, because you need to be able to sensitize them to understand that in as much as we're allowing you to use these platforms, there are various ills that are out there that you need to be aware of. There are online predators out there. There are pedophiles out there. There are cyber bullies out there. So you need to be very careful as to what content you're accessing, first of all, and how much time you're spending on these platforms. Because in as much as they're enticing you to, click on this link or provide this information or whatever it is that they're asking you for, you need to be very aware that whatever is on the internet stays on the internet forever. The internet doesn't forget. So if it's your pics that you're sharing, you need to be careful what you're uploading up there.
Okay. And by the way, just so you know, even from this particular documentary that I'm talking about called The Social Dilemma, former employees of tech giants like, Google or Facebook actually said when these companies were started, they did not intend for it to be used for bad. There was the good. They were hoping to spread love and fun and, just pretty much set up a way for people to connect. But suddenly, as time has gone by, these platforms have morphed into just, homes of disinformation. They have turned into, areas where predators are actually looking for, vulnerable individuals. And so, like Francis is saying, do we have our antennas up? But going back to the very same people who are putting content on those platforms, Emmah, how should we go about knowing, what's right as a content developer? What guidelines can you give us on this one?
Thank you very much. I think even as I pick that question, let me first answer
Joshua
from
who's saying
from Kirinyaga. I want to believe that Joshua is a product of social responsibility or collective responsibility, where he has grown with people around him taking care of him. So in that, then, when he says that people should take responsibility for whatever they are doing, then he's misleading the public, because it means what I am seeing in my environment. As a human being, chances are that you're taking some. And when you take in the bad, whatever you take in is what you give out. So you need to be in an environment where there are good values. And I think that is why we talk about moral values and even national values, which are also enshrined in our Constitution, Article 10. Because those values, when we have them, it's the same values that you give to our children. And even as we talk about the internet issue, the bad that the children are interacting with, or how do they protect themselves, it's also a value issue. Because if the child knows that if I visit a pornographic site, I don't want to see that, that's not good for me. Or content that is radicalizing, that child will not visit. Actually, you'll even see some children, when they turn on the TV and whatever is showing there, they have been told, or according to their values or the value system of even the family, this is bad, they'll switch off or change to another channel. So I think the responsibility is for all of us, but if I take responsibility and there are people around me, they will also be responsible, and because they will be influenced. Coming to your question on the content on the internet, actually whatever Joshua is talking about KFCB regulating is because of what we are talking about right now, about the internet. When I'm on Facebook, when I'm on Instagram, I want people to tag, I want people to follow me. So we have people who are developing content which is very vulgar, which is very scandalous, just because they want to go against the grain, so that their content can, somebody will look at, hey, what is that? What did that person post? So, and in that, they have followers, they have people who are liking and all that, and tweeting and retweeting. And if we were to talk about the good or the good values, such that all our platforms are populated with good music, with good films, then that is what we'll be interacting with, and that is what we'll take to our system. That means that our value system will be okay. So I think it's not about we want to kill creativity when we are regulating. We are saying produce content, but content which is sensible, which is sensitive even to other people, because we are living in a society where even the children, because of affordability of mobile telephony, they have smartphones, so they can be able to see. So what is that content that we are putting there, and we don't want, and we are we are fearing that it will be controlled by Kenya Film Classification Board.
If
it was okay,
then you shouldn't fear.
Why would we fear?
Okay, Evelyn, you know, even our very own children who we are trying to protect are also the ones generating the content, because like Emmah even said, they're the ones with the smartphones, they're the ones who understand how to develop content even better than we probably would ever be able to. And so, because I can see you nodding there and agreeing with a little bit of what Emmah is actually saying, how can we encourage responsible content, better content, safe content online?
First, let me just say I'm not to what Emmah is saying, because what she's talking about is an issue of values.
Yeah.
And our values are our foundation, really. So depending on what is, depending on what values you pick, you will definitely transmit those values to your children.
Okay.
However, when because I train children, one of the things that I have decided to do is to be very practical with them. And when it comes especially to creating content, remember Francis has just said now that the internet never forgets. So that is something that we need to imprint in their memory.
Okay.
One, the internet will never forget.
Evelyn, sorry, we've got a caller. I'm going to get back to you in just a moment. Hold that thought. Mercy from Kinangop is with us. Mercy, if you can hear me. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, Mercy, karibu sana. Uko na swali? Uko na swali? Hello? Tunakusikia, tunakusikia. Okay.
Yeah.
Mercy, can you hear me? Please turn down your monitor at home. Okay. All right, our viewers never fail to surprise us. Mercy, please call us back with the actual question. Back to you, Evelyn. Apologies about that. Mercy seemed to had forgotten what she wanted to ask, but they seem to be very excited hearing themselves on air. Yeah, so you were saying that you talk to kids, and one of the things that you tell your children is what?
Values. First and foremost, our values, we as parents need to communicate what our values are to our children and why those values are important. Because when we are them physically, we can control that environment. But when they go to the online space, they're global citizens, and we need to be able to equip them to know where to put boundaries and the kind of standards they need to uphold. However, I keep telling them that there is personal responsibility. And I know there's someone who talked about personal responsibility. So when I'm teaching them in class, one, I tell them that the internet never forgets. So right now they might think that they're posting are very trendy, they're catching up with technology, and they're having the conversation of the day. And in that moment, without emotional intelligence or any intelligence whatsoever, they start posting things that are questionable.
Yeah.
Now, 5, 10, 15 years from now, they will pay for those mistakes. Why? When the internet never forgets and they're looking for jobs, they're looking for opportunities. If right now in 2020, I hardly look at people's CVs, I look at their social prints, imagine how the future will be for them.
Yeah.
So someone just needs to ask for your handles or for your email address, and they get to know everything about you from when you got into the digital media. So we need to start telling them now to take personal responsibility, and especially when they're posting things, they need to learn the lines they need to draw in terms of respect.
Okay.
When we go online, and I believe this is where bullying comes in, where I have an opinion, but someone else will differ from my opinion, but I don't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
Then it starts abusing, we start, calling each other different things. But that is the mistake we make, because we are not also teaching ourselves that other people have opinions that are different from ours.
Right.
And if it is not our way, start becoming careless with our words.
Okay.
So we need to start looking at having our children get into social media, yes, at the appropriate age, because there's also the age issue, which is 13.
Yeah.
And if you have children below the age of 13, parents need to look out for the platforms that have been developed for children specifically for the age of 13 and below.
Okay.
Like, for example, the Google Family Link, Facebook Messenger for kids, those are specific platforms that have been designed for children under the age of 13.
Okay.
So as you're getting your child into the social media space,
yeah,
we need to start having conversations about personal responsibility.
Okay.
And then also looking at what the law says about the things that they post online as well.
Okay. So we only have 3 minutes to go. I'm just going to give each of you the opportunity to think about your closing remarks. Francis, I'll ask you to give us 3-4 pointers about how to stay safe and, of course, where we can read more information and understand more about these applications. Same thing for you, Emmah, in terms of trying to understand or accessing material and about the digital parenting program, because 3 minutes only is what we have tops. And then, of course, for you, Evelyn, when I get back to you, it's about how do we develop a good and open relationship with our children as to how they use the internet. How do we become friends so that our children can be open towards what it is that they are doing online? But for now, let me just sample a few text messages that are coming through very quickly through our WhatsApp number. All right, we've got a text message here that says, hello, K24, internet connected us. The use of internet, rather, has caused more harm to the society than it has done good. The increased moral decadence has been a result of the internet. I think the individualism of parenting has also led to poor upbringing, rather, of children. During our forefathers' time, the societal caring of children as a community property played a vital role in good parenting of kids. Nowadays, if you punish someone's kid, you may find yourself in big trouble. To avoid that, kila mtu na mzigo wake. All right, thank you so much. I agree with Evelyn Kasina. I think the kind of content the kids access on the internet depends on what their parents are doing online. Oh, all right. Thank you. Do we have another one? Okay. So as we wind up, very quickly, some quick tips for us, Francis, to think about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Shiko. I think the very first thing that I would mention is, because we are now working from home and our kids are learning from home, it's very important to ensure that your devices are well protected. So the first thing you can do is get a very good antivirus program or anti-malware program, so that when you're sent these phishing links and phishing attachments, the application is very can easily detect these malware and be able to, clean up the machine. Second thing is ensure that you use strong passwords. I always say use a password that is, a phrase or a sentence, or better yet, use your mother tongue. Yeah, no one will be able to crack that. It will take a very long time for them to be able to crack that.
Okay.
And I think the other thing also is just to ensure that in as much as you're putting in the controls, talk to your children as well. Develop an open relationship with them, because you need to explain to them why these controls are being put in place.
Okay. All right. Very quickly, digital parenting program. How can we find that?
I would want to say that we have been doing webinars for the digital, as we roll out the digital parenting program. We would want to encourage parents, when we announce that we have such a webinar, please come on board.
Okay.
Come on board and learn something from the partnership between KFCB and Google. And at the moment, all the webinars that we have had, you can find that information on KFCB website. That's www.kfcb.co.ke. If you need more information, you can reach us at info@kfcb.co.ke. And on the YouTube, you can find the content on digital skills for Africa.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Evelyn, one line, tafadhali, for our parents watching.
Well, I'll say put the guns down. When you find that things are happening in your house, collaborate with your children. Don't fight them. Don't pretend you know more than them. And create a conducive environment such that they come to you when they have difficult times over the internet. Be the person they run to, not run away from. And then, of course, just enjoy parenting, because parenting is meant to be something fun, not just very restrictive.
Oh, wow. All right, beautiful. Thank you so much. That's Evelyn Kasina there joining us via Skype. Remember, she is a family IT consultant. A big thank you to Francis Mwangi, who's been with us, an information security consultant. I hope you got those tips on how you can protect yourself, your children, and of course, your devices. And of course, a big thank you to Emmah Irungu, who is from the Kenya Film Classification Board. Asante sana. Pass our greetings to Dr. Ezekiel. And remember, your child is a global citizen. So are you. Do what you need to do to protect our children online. Asante sana for joining us on behalf of the entire Breakfast crew. Thanks for watching. My name is Shiko Kaitani. Have a beautiful day up ahead. The Daily Brief is up next. Bye-bye.